Hello, hello. How's everyone doing this morning? Happy Saturday. Happy Easter. Time for some comics. Where's the camera? We got two cameras going. Time for some comics and some coffee. So before we get rolling here, sound check as always. Make sure this microphone is working. Let me know how this sounds, if it's too loud or too quiet. And who do we got in the chat here today? We've got Dennis. Howdy. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. I have a lot of these. G1 Complete Unmasked. That is awesome. I'm not much of a comic collector anymore these days. I don't want complete collections. Just one or two or three or four is enough for me. But yeah, this was an incredible score at Trinkets Toy Show last week. So I put up the tour video of that a couple days ago, last week, and going to take a closer look at that stuff today. And what I'm most excited for is just going through the ads. That's what I really miss when I go through those compilations that they do, the trade paperbacks. If you see me looking over here, it's because my computer screen is here, and my camera is here. One camera is here, and then the other camera is here looking at the comics. So when I actually start going through the comics, I'm going to go into solo layout here, but just for the introductions here and the hellos, I'm going to go split screen here. But I was saying I miss the ads that are in the old comics. Maybe they were a bit of a nuisance back in the day, but you don't know what you got till it's gone. And now when I go through the trade paperbacks, I really miss all those, especially like the funness of the old comics. Oh, you hear an echo. Okay, that's not good. Let me... Okay, let me know if that's better, because I didn't have the mic muted on this camera, the phone. So Sneaky Steals is my audio tech today. Thanks for mentioning that. There is some reverb. That's better. Okay, good. Yeah, don't hesitate to let me know when there's always audio issues. Doesn't matter how much setup you try to do, there's always audio issues. I was talking to the tech guy at my church about audio, and it doesn't matter how long you've done it, 20 years, 30 years, just always some weird audio thing happens. It doesn't matter if the setup is perfect. Awesome. Glad to hear that. Doesn't matter if it's the exact same setup that it's been for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. There's just too many things that can happen. Some kind of setting, wire, connection, who knows. Good. I'm glad I'm not going to be sitting here for an hour with an echo, because I can't hear this as I'm listening, as I'm doing this stream. A few more hellos here. G1 Transformers. Yes. I see these around, and they go for quite a bit. The Transformers comics, as far as the comics that I want to collect, I don't really go for vintage Batman or Spider-Man. Just basically toy-related comics. And the mask stuff, not too expensive. I've never seen a Power Lords comic. That was wild seeing one of those. And it's issue 2 of 3. But the Transformers comics have all gone up in price. So Mikey had a whole bunch of them, and he was selling them for $2 Canadian. I stress Canadian, not American. $2 Canadian is like, what is that now? $1.50 American, maybe $1.40. I don't know. Our dollar is tanking. So that was just amazing to get like a whole pile of comics I used to have. I remember having quite a few of these when I was little. Boba Hicks, great to see you. Member of the Patreon tribe from Ireland. What is this? Backdrop is Having a mind of its own there. Thanks for joining the stream there. Happy Easter Mania. Right on, man. WrestleMania tonight. I guess you're going to be catching it probably tomorrow. Going to be a little late in the evening for you. But yeah, WrestleMania tonight and tomorrow. Looking forward to that show. Rambola. My eyes aren't too good today. Rambo, welcome. And Sneaky Steals. Okay, I already got through that one. And thanks again for mentioning that too. Appreciate that, because sometimes I've gone back and just listened to a few seconds of the stream and like, wish I had fixed that at the beginning. Rocking the Autobot logo in today's coffee. Oh, interesting. Do I dare unmute this? Autobots, transform and roll out till all are one. Yeah, that's kind of a cool effect there. Right on. Okay. That's enough of me gabbing and yakking. How about we go solo? How do I do that? Solo layout. There we go. And JLS, welcome. Can't go wrong with starting the day with comics and coffee. Absolutely. Boba says probably catch the WrestleMania replay the morning after. Give me 1 second here, folks. I wanna give a plug here. Memento. Takes some time to do these things on the fly sometimes. Check out Boba Hicks's Instagram. He's got some amazing pictures on there. He's an incredible toy photographer. Takes them out into the wild. I'm a big fan of that. Go give his Instagram a follow. Okay, what are we going to look at? Let's see. What do you guys want to start with? We'll just go through everything. We got an issue of Thundercats. And this is Star Comics. So even though it says, I got to figure out how to hold things up to this camera. Yeah, even though it says Star Comics, that was a subsidiary. That's quite the word for Saturday morning before having a full coffee. Subsidiary of Marvel, Star Comics. So a lot of the good 80s comics that are based on toy lines weren't fully Marvel, they were Star. So we've got a Thundercats, which is interesting. I would have thought Thundercats would have been DC. Power Lords, issue of that's a DC comic. We got Mask, which is a DC comic. So a lot of the competing toy lines for Hasbro in the 80s, Hasbro went with Marvel usually, and then the competing toy brands went with DC, although Cops was a DC comic. There's that. Fletch, hi there. Classic cover with Bruce Springsteen. This is one of the best covers ever. That's Circuit Breaker right there. I believe she's kind of tied up into Wright's limbo, because when they did that revival comic series that Simon Furman wrote, they couldn't use Circuit Breaker, so they turned Spike into like a circuit. I think it was called Circuit Smasher, which was a drag whenever that Wright stuff interferes with the old continuities. This is the first time Prime died. Before he was killed off in the movie, or maybe this was released after the movie, I'm not sure. But Optimus bites it in this issue. And that was a great issue too. Skids versus Megatron. That's what was so great about the old Marvel Transformers comic. Hey, Johnny, good to see you. Thanks for joining. Guys like Skids got their moment to shine. And there was a couple of episodes in the Sunbow cartoon where, like Warpath had his episode and Power Glide had his episode. But it happened more often in the comic where some just background guy really got to shine for an issue. This is another big one. I was surprised at some of the really memorable issues that were in this bunch that I picked up. Issue 25. To me, that's a big issue of Transformers, even though it's not one of the supersized ones. It's the one where Megatron dies. So, yeah, it's interesting. They actually did that back to back. Prime dies in issue 24, and then Megatron dies in issue 25. And totally different from the movie. But I remember this one being a really good one for Megatron kind of lamenting over losing his arch rival. Like, this was a really powerful story in the sense that the villain felt empty and incomplete because, like the Joker to the Batman was gone. So he finally realized the purpose that Prime gave his life. And it wasn't until he lost Prime. Heavy stuff, really heavy stuff. The cartoon didn't always get into stuff like that, but Bob Budiansky, I mean, there's some fluff issues here, but there's also some really, really good heavy stuff. What else we got here? This is another all-time favorite cover. This is the one where Megatron, I'm kind of foggy on this one, but he loses his memory or something for the issue, and some guy just picks Megatron up and starts shooting him as a gun, doesn't realize it's a giant transformer. There was an issue of Air Raiders too in there. So I got a big comic rack, and I like just having a few of a whole bunch of different toy lines in there. So it's cool to add an Air Raiders in there. What else we got here? Yes, Skids definitely left his mark, not only in the comic, but he left his mark. Skid left a skid mark, so to speak, in the hearts of Transformers fans all over the world. What do we got here? It's Ratchet versus Megatron, another awesome rivalry from the Transformers Marvel comic. Like, who would have ever thought Ratchet and Megatron would have a great rivalry? But that's the magic of the comic. They got to explore those. Like, they'd never do that in a cartoon. In the cartoon, it's always they paired off, right? Prime and Megatron paired off. Optimus and Galvatron paired off. But the comic had a little more freedom. Oh, okay, that's what you were referring to. Bruce Springsteen on the cover of this one. Hoist holding up some grid work, girders. And the boss, that is definitely the boss. He's wearing a headband. That's the E Street Band with him. And Throttle Bots, right on. With BlackRock. Yeah. We've got, Draws is here. Welcome, Draws. Another member of the Patreon tribe. Hi there, Force Whisperer. My name is printed in the back of that comic with Circuit Breaker. I had entered the Spot the Shinto contest. Well, you know what? I was wondering what to start with. And that's exactly what we're going to start with, because that's the kind of cool stuff that doing a live stream comic flip through can lead to. So Force Whisperer is in here. Before we get to that, just give me one more minute. Just going through the rest of the pickups. An issue of Silverhawks and Visionaries. Had a few comics as well. Some of them were just straight up redos of the cartoon episodes, but then there are some original stories too. So if you're a huge Visionaries fan and you wanted just a little bit more, then you can get a little bit more. Robot Master. I always thought that kind of looked like Bob Budiansky. Wondered if that was someone putting Bob in there. All right, let's start with the circuit breaker issue. This is really cool. Ratchet and Megatron later became very, in a very creepy, gross way. Who will ever forget flipping the page open and seeing them fuse together? That was horrible. All right, let's move this camera a little closer. Got all the technology now. Picked up one of these cheap webcam arms on Amazon. Makes it a lot easier to move the camera around. Okay. And we're just going to flip through this one. Well, got a little bit of a damaged cover here. That's cool. Yeah, Mikey told me some of them weren't in great shape, but I don't really care. I'm beat up, so I don't mind if my comics and my toys are beat up. Let's see here. Love these short run series comics. Yeah, me too. I like the finite stuff. It's not a huge investment of time to binge through something. Another nice thing about beat up comics is that you don't have to worry about skin oils damaging the comics. This stuff was not meant to be read wearing latex gloves. I mean, it's meant to be flipped through and, not be super careful with it. But anyway, the cover, in addition to Circuit Breaker, which was already mentioned, one of my favorite Transformers, Fortress Maximus. Love that character. And then one of the Pretenders, Decepticon Pretenders. And we open up with one of the ads I mentioned from Ultra Games. It's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What is this? It just says Ultra Games. Is it like a role-playing game? I thought it was like a video game. Oh, it's a medley. Okay, sorry. There's a skating game, some kind of fantasy game. So it's not just Turtles. It's just a general Ultra Games advertisement. Beat up comics only adds to the charm. You're absolutely right. It's like when you get a toy that's got a little bit of wear and tear on it. Shows you that it was appreciated. There's kind of a gnarly looking guy. MonsterCon from Mars. And it is written by Bob Budiansky. Great comic writer. Got to meet him last year at TFCon Toronto. So happy that he came down to Toronto to meet the fans in person there. And then one of my biggest honors on the channel was getting to chat with him on the channel for, I think it was about an hour. He was extremely generous with his time. I never give the guests that come onto the channel like a time frame. I just say, hey, I'm grateful for 5 minutes of your time. And some of them just like chatting for a half hour or even an hour. It's pretty awesome. Very generous of them. Let's see here. Not going to go through the stories of these. It's just fun to quickly flip through them. Who remembers that? I wanted that so bad. So bad. The Freedom Stick. Oh, so that's a knockoff. There was an official Nintendo arcade style controller, but this was a knockoff by Can America. And it was, oh my gosh, it was wireless. Just noticed that. That's got to be one of the first wireless game controllers. I mean, they're standard today, but the Nintendo one that looked like that was not wireless. That's cool. Blast from the past. I remember these too. All of the different, are these prices? New England Comics. America's finest discount comic subscription service. Some of the comics have just tons and tons of advertisements. I feel like this one, not quite as much as usual, because here's a 2-page layout and then another 2-page layout without an ad. Sometimes it's like every page you flip. Look at that, 3-page or 3 different double pages until you get another ad. These are fun too, to go through these old comic advertisements. Let's come in a little closer here. Let me know if you can read that okay. There's some limitations, it being a live stream. They cut down a little bit of the quality of the image, but it actually looks really, really sharp. Just got a new webcam a few weeks ago, and this looks way better than the old one. Sneaky Steals, yeah, the one used by the live version of Captain N. Oh, okay. Right, that's right. He did have a wireless one. Now, I remember this one, these ads for building muscle. There's also one that was always appearing in comics about tired of getting sand kicked in your face at the beach. And then it was also about building muscle, space shuttle in 3D, comic grab bags, and the old days when there weren't thousands, literally thousands and thousands of different comics. Oh, there's Circuit Breaker's reveal. Pulling off the trench coat, and she was quite the dynamo. She could kick some major Decepticon butt. I remember this one too. Pull out a little bit. Cash prizes, yes. Right on. Earn famous name prizes. Earn $1 an item or cash. Let's take a closer look at what some of these prizes used to be. Oh, Jeep. You barely see that. Oh, thank you so much. Philman Page with Super Chat there. Appreciate that. That'll get some hazelnut creamer. Good morning, Michael. Awesome issue. I had that one as a kid. Loved Circuit Breaker. Thank you so much. Check out Philman Page's channel, by the way, on YouTube. I'll take a moment here to find that and share the link. I had a great chat with him on the channel here. Well, it feels like not long ago. Can I find it? There it is. Philman Page. It's there. Head on over there. Hit the subscribe button. It's got some great content on there. Book reviews. Looks like movie reviews. Good stuff. What else do we got here? Thanks for the super chat again. That looks like a jukebox. Jukebox, AM, FM, stereo, cassette. Let me know if you see anything in particular you want a closer look at here. Little scooter. Oh, that one. Swiss Army knife. That's the one I would have picked. Nice. Bike radio. That's cool. Skateboard. Radio controlled Corvette. Almost looks like a Thunderhawk. Looks like a Camaro. 8-track race set. Now check this out. Calculator watch. I just found my original one. Thanks to my mom for never throwing any of my stuff out. I found my original calculator watch. Those are cool. I'm going to put some new batteries in it, but it's kind of cool to just wear it as a bracelet. Just like an old vintage piece of jewelry. that a computer? PC World calculator clock. Snoopy phone, right on. There's some cool stuff here. Magnavox portable TV. It's a mini TV. It's probably 5 pounds. Walkie-talkie set. Coca-Cola phone. That's cool. Cordless telephone. Yeah, all the phones for the younger folks, for the teenagers watching today. All our phones used to be corded. And then the cordless phone appeared. Circuit breaker had that Ghostbusters Gozer look going on. Yeah, actually, it's true. It's not really an outfit, though. It's circuitry. Moving on. More story stuff going on. Yeah, you remember the bullpen bulletins? There was so much stuff to read in these comics. Not just the actual story, but all these updates from Marvel. There's a Kitty Pryde quote starting there. Profiles on Marvel employees. Oh, that's cool too. There's a checklist of all the stuff coming out. So before the internet, that's how you kept track of what was coming out, what you needed, what you needed to get. Wow. Look at the low numbers. X Factor 50, is it 33? Cloak and Dagger #1, the Nom 23. Transformers 45. Wow. Getting near the end here. Some more ad stuff. Okay, this is what we've been looking for. This big page right here. What are we looking at here? Since we have a celebrity in our midst, trying to get the camera as close as possible here without going blurry. So what was this? Cram zillions of names onto this letters page. What was it for? Oh, spot the Shinto. Okay, right. Horse Whisperer mentioned that. It was spot the Shinto. Is it a Casio? I think so, hopefully. Yeah. Got to do it Ric Flair style. It's a Casio. Woo! I'm a Casio wearing, bike riding. Son of a gun. Maybe we won't pick out Force Whisperer's name. I just realized probably doesn't want that broadcast. So, but yeah, whole bunch of names here. Alabama, Alaska. Where's my favorite state? Great state of Michigan right there. Go blue. That's pretty awesome. Have your name permanently in a vintage Marvel comic. Right on. Yeah, we're not going to point it out, but Force Whisperer, I'm just going to, yeah, good thinking. But I'm just going to, let's see here, pan down here so you can see it. In there somewhere. Oh my God, that's going to take a while. And maybe we got some other people in the chat, or we'll eventually catch this on replay. We'll notice their name in here. I know another guy whose name appeared in one of these comics, Obi, member of the Patreon tribe for many years, big friend of the channel, and most importantly, a member of the Massachusetts Wrecking Crew, along with Jarrett. But Obi's name appears in, I think it's a G.I. Joe comic from back in the day. I always think that's interesting, meeting people who had not necessarily worked on this stuff, but just like spend a day or, like working on a commercial or have their name in a comic. That's really cool. Shh, quiet. Don't give them any clues. Car phones used to be the size of a baby's arm. Yeah, they were humongous. I love the old movies where guys talk about they got a car phone and everyone's so impressed with the car phone. And then you see it in use and it's this humongous thing. Well, that was fun going through that one. Yeah. I'd be surprised. You would think they would catch that, but I don't know. Film page. One thing I really miss about comics from old comics is the smell. New comics don't have that smell anymore because they're like glossy paper. And that's another reason that I really love vintage comics, because they're that old newspaper, the newspaper print, and the new stuff, while it looks amazing and it's nice and glossy, it's like they took the cover material and just made the whole comic out of the shiny cover material. And when they started doing that, I thought that was really cool. And then as more time went on, I wish you could smell this. As time went on, I started to really miss kind of the yellowy look of newsprint. I'm not sure the right term. The contrast isn't quite that high. I think of it as like in Photoshop or when I'm changing contrast on a video, but like the contrast on these would be turned at 0 instead of down to 10 or 20. But the smell, that's amazing. That's cool. You guys want to take a look at the Power Lords comic? I've never actually gone through one of these before. I remember the toys and never had any. I thought they were extremely creepy. I mean, and I had sectars, so I didn't really mind creepy toys. I wanted Inhumanoids, but these I looked at and I went, no, that's weird. I still don't have any Power Lords, but they're interesting. Let's go to solo layout here. Oh, let's just get a few more comments here. Joe Pod says, hey, Mr. Mercy. Yeah, you can call me Mike. Thanks, though. Love your content, and I appreciate all that you do. Thank you. And I, too. Hey, appreciate you watching. Much appreciated. Miss that smell. This is for you, Joe Pod. I know you won't be able to smell it, but maybe you can pretend. You know the smell. That wafting newsprint. Zipatone was the name of the method they used to color old comics. Well, that's interesting. Yes, the smell of the paper was very distinct, and it's amazing that it's still there after all these years. What year was this comic? 1982? It says 1982 on the back there. 1983. I'm probably using it up. I don't think it's that limited. I don't think you can get like 5 flip throughs and then it doesn't smell anymore. I think it's pretty baked in there. Let's see. Did I miss any? All right, let's take a look at Power Lords, just because It's a line, it's a property that really doesn't get much attention. DC Power Lords issue 2 of 3. I'm especially interested to read some of this. I didn't even know they had a comic. Just because there was no cartoon, so I don't know what the story to Power Lords is. We got a great Masters of the Universe advertisement, and it's for the models, not the toys. I remember seeing the Attack Track model at a shop somewhere, and it's different from the toy because it's got the roof to it, which I think looks better. That's awesome. Lucky that it's the inside cover too, so it's a nice glossy picture. And there's the Talon Fighter. The nose looks a little elongated from what the toy was. That looks cool too. I'm not sure what the scale of these was. It'd be great if it was in the same scale as the old toys were. Inhumanoids Decompose was scary for me back then. Who published the Inhumanoids comics? That was Star also, I believe. So, and there was only 4 issues of Inhumanoids. It's interesting that you mentioned that. Just 1 second. I'm going to go grab it. It's really handy having a comic rack. So I got one of them. It's issue 1 of 4, which will be featured in the History of Inhumanoids video, which is coming out someday. Someday. I've been working on it a long time, but I've been really enjoying it. It's been a lot of work, but I wanted to do the History of Inhumanoids since I started the channel like many years ago. So I'm just really savoring every minute of runtime that I'm working through. But it was supposed to be a 5-parter, and Inhumanoids tanked so hard that they just didn't even bother doing the 5th issue. So Inhumanoids, the cartoon, started with a 5-parter, and each comic was supposed to be an adaptation of each episode. And I don't recall hearing that ever happen before, where they started adapting a comic series and then just quit because the thing just bombed so hard. So yeah, if you ever get the Inhumanoids complete comic set, it's 1 to 4. And just to let you know, the story doesn't finish. They never got around to finishing it. That's the Inhumanoids comic. Back to Power Lords. What am I doing? Power Lords. Love the obscure. Force Whisper says, now I think I'm going to go sniff one of my boxes of old comics. It's kind of funny how we associate smell with, old memories, like the smell of not just toys and comics, but, grandma's cooking and mom's cooking and other things. Shari, just wanted to stop by real quick, say I love the content you make. Hey, thanks so much. Appreciate that. Thanks for watching. The smell of baseball or any other cards right out of the package with the gum, with the rock hard bubble. Yeah, the bubble gum. Yeah, those were cool. Power Lords. Okay. Same as the last one. I'm not going to go through the whole thing and read the whole thing. I think that would be kind of boring, but just getting a quick look at some of the artwork. Nice artwork. The artwork in a lot of 80s comics look great, though. Looking forward to that Inhumanoids vid. Thanks for sharing that bit of trivia. You're welcome. I'm looking forward to it too, actually, even though I'm making it. It's kind of funny. Sometimes I'll make a video and there it is, and it's kind of like, like when they interview actors on those talk shows. And they asked the actor like Harrison Ford, and he's like, I don't watch my stuff. I can't watch. I made it. I can't watch it. And sometimes I make the videos and I made it. I can't watch it. I can't really enjoy it, especially for my old movies that I made, shorts and stuff. I'm like, I was there. I don't ever need to watch that again. But the Inhumanoids is so fun. Like I'm actually looking forward as just a viewer watching it once I'm done, because there's quite a few fun bits in that one coming up. And just because there's not a lot of Inhumanoid stuff out there. Bubble Yum Unscramble game is a game that's as much fun to play as Bubble Yum is to chew. Just unscramble these 6 mixed up words, 1 letter to each square. All right, you guys want to play this Unscramble Bubble Yum game? Seems like a fun thing to do. So, what's the first word? In the meantime, did robotics ever have a comic? Probably. I'm thinking if it had that short, because it was on Super Sunday with Inhumanoids and Gem, if it had a short cartoon run, just Googling it right now. Marvel Comics robotics. Looks like it did. Yep, it did. I don't know how many they made. Looks like it came out in 86. It might have just been 1. I just from a quick Google search, it looks like there's 1 issue. A lot of ginger-haired kids in Bubble Yum. I don't know. I have no idea what these unscramble into. Is this yummy? This one right here looks like it's yummy. Juicy? What is this? FOS soft. There you go. Soft. I guess they're descriptions of gum. Mao? I don't know. Who knows? Okay. That's that's enough for the Bubble Yum game. That's about as much time as I spent on them back in the day. Return of the Jedi model kits. I was all about the Star Wars model kits in the 90s. That's my nostalgia right there. Seeing MPC Star Wars model kits. All you who grew up on Star Wars in the 80s love the Kenner figures and vehicles, but I see an NPC A-Wing or Tidarium, and that's my Star Wars nostalgia. Took a lot of patience to make those back then, too. Oh, pink. Force Whisperer gave us another one of these. Pink, okay. Bubbles. That's it. TSR hobbies, those role-playing games, Star Frontiers. Kind of fight the urge to build the Star Wars Bandai ships because they're so detailed. Yeah, I kind of miss the simplicity of some of the older models. Although I had done some of the glue together models, and then some of the snap kits came out, and I got a snap kit or 2, and I just did not like it as much as the glue together kits. I felt like they just felt cheaper, flimsier. So gluing is a colossal pain, especially back in the day. Like the glue I used, you had to hold it, clamp it in place. It wasn't like instant glue. But in hindsight, it was a really nice, relaxing hobby. And that's what hobby should be, is relaxing. If your hobby is causing you anxiety, it's not a hobby. It's a burden. Let's see. NBC Saturday morning, we got the Jazz. It's a reference to A-Team, Hannibal always being on the Jazz. He's on the Jazz, man. He's on the Jazz. Oh, cool. It's a lineup of the cartoons from the 80s. On NBC, they had the Flintstones, Flintstone Funnies, Shirt Tales, Smurfs, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Mr. T, Amazing Spider-Man, and the Incredible Hulk. And Thundar the Barbarian, written by our friend Buzz Dixon, who also wrote some Inhumanoids. But I remember Saturday morning cartoons early on, starting with the more kiddie stuff, and then as the morning progressed, much like we are right here, starting at 11, it's more adult content. So, the ultimate BA, and I'm not talking about Bosco, Mr. T, and then Amazing Spider-Man, stuff that's geared a little more to the older kids. I'm not sure why that was. They thought the really little toddlers were up really early. Pity the fool who didn't watch NBC Saturday mornings. Absolutely. There's Alvin and the Chipmunks there. You can get a closer look at this for Eric if he watches this back. One of his favorites. It's like what are they doing to this cake? I'm not sure. There's Fred and Barney as cops. It's a pretty cool artwork here. That's Shirt Tales. There's Thundar. Lost in the Annals of Time, Thundar. Hasn't really had a revival like a lot of other properties, but if Buzz worked on it, I'm going to bet that is really awesome. Because Buzz's stuff is timeless. His writing is really great. Some of the best Joe episodes are his. Transformers. And there's Spider-Man. I watched this as a kid. I had no idea that Iceman was an X-Man. I didn't know what the X-Men were when I was a little kid watching this. It wasn't until later I found out he's actually a member of the X-Men. And then Firestar, they created her specifically just for the cartoon. And everybody loved the Hulk. Hey, Gaz, good to see you. Good morning to you. Just watching Mr. T's cartoon on Amazon's cartoon channel. That's cool. I didn't know Amazon had a cartoon channel. I remember that being really hard to find. Like a year or two ago, I was working on some video and I could not find his cartoon anywhere. So that it's up somewhere now for people to watch the complete series, that's cool. I don't really remember it either. I didn't watch it, but I heard about it. It was like always on here and there. Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends was one of my favorite cartoons. It was awesome. And guess who voiced Spider-Man in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends? Anyone remember who was the voice of Spidey? Give you a hint. I got to meet him a few years ago. Did a little chat with him on the channel at a toy convention. Can anyone guess? I'll give you another hint. He plays a beloved yellow character in another show. That intro to Thundar the Barbarian. I've been meaning to get back into Thundar. It's just too much. Too much stuff to see and to watch and too little time. Firestar and Scarlet and Tila, probably why I like redheads. Yeah, there's a lot of redheads back then. Okay. I'm sure someone will eventually take a guess at who voiced Spider-Man in this cartoon. Amazon, or someone will just Google it. Amazon just put up some live channels like Action. Awesome. A-Team. Right on. It's about time A-Team was streaming somewhere. Monsters that Shows Universal monster films and lots more. That's great. Tubi's one of my favorite streaming services just because they show all old 80s stuff that no one else wants. So that's cool that Amazon's putting some of that great old stuff up. Okay, I'll give it away since I'll forget if I don't mention it now. Flip the page. Dan Gilvezan, voice of Bumblebee on Transformers, was the voice of Spider-Man on Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. He's Spidey. Did a great job on that too. More interesting predicaments. Oh, right on. This is turning out to just be like an ad flip through more than a comic flip through. The Sergeant Rock toys. And there's talk about a Sergeant Rock movie. So I've gotten to the point where when they announce that they're going to make a new movie or reboot something, I'm not at all looking forward to the actual, what's the word? They use the word content for everything today. I don't really care about the whatever content they're working on, whether it's a show or a series. What I'm excited about is that if they're making a Sergeant Rock movie now, and last I heard, who are they eyeing? Jeremy Allen White, possibly, for Sergeant Rock, for Frank Rock. But what excites me when they announce these reboots is that now there'll be more interest in the vintage stuff. That's a cool offshoot. It's like when they did the last two Indiana Jones movies, even if you didn't like those movies, it brought a lot of attention back to vintage Indiana Jones. And that's a good thing. You know, the better access to the old comics, games, merch. You know, we got reissues of vintage Kenner Indiana Jones figures, and it's because they made a new Indiana Jones movie. It's a great offshoot. Bumblebee, didn't know that. Will The Rock play Sergeant Rock? I don't think he really fits the character, but that doesn't seem to matter anymore these days. They just put whoever they can get in there. They don't care. But as far as look, I think Daniel Craig has the perfect look for Frank Rock, Sergeant Rock. He's got those pale, sad blue eyes and that weathered face. He looks perfect, but he's British. And I really think Sergeant Rock needs to be played by an American. He's an American war hero. He needs to be played by an American. And the fact that they're saying Daniel Craig, yeah, he looks perfect. Get someone who looks like that. Just don't get any, like, as a Canadian, I'm even saying don't get a Canadian to play Sergeant Rock. Get an American. It's an American hero. Get an American to play him. Who else? I like that Sergeant Rock short in the DC animated movies. I don't know about that. Thanks for letting me know about that. Didn't know that existed. I was a big fan of Sergeant Rock comics when I was growing up. I'd pick them up at the corner store. What else we got here? I don't know what this is. Anyone remember this? Arak, Son of Thunder. Never heard of that. Warlord. Hercules. Available at participating Kmart stores. Remco. Figures it'd be Remco toys. They were always into those more obscure things. Oh, that's interesting. The Sergeant Rock, it looks like there's a ninja in the Sergeant Rock line. They were getting into the ninja stuff before G.I. Joe did. Bruce, yeah. That's a great idea. Bruce Willis. Could have done it back in the day. Yeah. Exact same type of look. Just kind of that, that melancholy. That's the word I'm looking for. Sergeant Rock needs a melancholy kind of look about him. It's kind of funny, actually, now that I think about it. Another guy that kind of has that melancholy look to him that could work, and he's blonde too, which is another plus. Ryan Gosling. He can definitely do dramatic. Only problem is Ryan's from down the road. He's from London, Ontario, and other Ontario areas. So I stand by what I said. Even if it was a great Canadian actor who would be perfect for it, got to get an American. Wonder if Brad Pitt would be interested. He's too old, but really, does it even matter anymore if someone's too old for the role? What else we got here? Used to have Sergeant Rock toys to fill in my G.I. Joe collection. Found out about Sergeant Rock while watching the Predator movie. Okay. Let's keep flipping through here. What is this here? War Room. Play the game the generals play for real. Some kind of RPG, maybe? Cool artwork in here. One sec while I take a sip of coffee. QWERTY has something in Russian here. Let me run that through the translator. Something to the effect of, thanks for the interesting episode. Best regards from Russia. Thank you very much, Tavarish. Thanks for tuning in. Michael, did you see Creature Commandos? I've never heard of it. It seems like every time I do a stream, someone mentions something I've never heard of. And sometimes Michael will send me an intro to some old 70s or 80s show, and like it's wild how there's still stuff out there I've never heard of. And it'll probably keep going on for years. Colin Farrell has been talked about. No thanks. Great actor once again. Not American. I don't know why this is so hard. Ryan Reynolds would be totally wrong for Sergeant Rock. Too comedic, but also too Canadian. Get an American. If you can think of an American who could play Sergeant Rock, like who could actually do it today, because Bruce Willis would have been perfect, but that's back in the day. If you can think of a current American actor who would be great as Sergeant Rock, drop it in the comments there, because I'm interested. And if someone can come up with a really good idea, I'm going to push that hard and say, get this guy, because I just have the feeling they're going to cast a non-American, and that's just wrong. Like, Sergeant Rock is America as much as Dusty Rhodes was America, Americana. So it's just weird to have like a Brit go on a talk show with an accent, or, some other non-American, and, waving an American flag and going USA, God bless America. It's like, it's got to be some personal vested interest in anyone playing Sergeant Rock. It's got to be an American playing this American hero. Chris Pine. Yeah. I mean, that's good. And I'm thinking like he's a bit of a, more of kind of like a pretty boy class, but now that he's getting a little up there in age, a few more grays. Yeah. He's kind of close to that kind of melancholy look that Craig has. It's not bad. Jason Statham. Oh, definitely. I'm not saying don't cast any Brits or any, Canadians or any other ethnicity. Like, definitely have them in the movie. Easy Company was multinational. That's Sergeant Rock's squad, Easy Company. But to play The Rock himself, it's got to be an American. And Dwayne The Rock Johnson is American, so I'll give him that. I'll give him that. He is American. Mickey Rourke. think it might be too late. Yeah, maybe back in the day. Chris Hemsworth is a great actor. He's also a great Australian. So, yeah, he's not American. I don't know. Am I alone in this thinking that Sergeant Rock should be played by an American? I don't know. It's kind of like that movie they did about Ronald Reagan. I just think it's so much better that Dennis Quaid, an American, played Ronald Reagan, the American president. I don't know. Michael Shannon, I'm not too familiar with him. He was in Man of Steel, I think. So that's what I know him from. Uh, I don't know if he'd be able to play something quite a bit different than that. Not sure. Okay, that's Power Lords. It's a big Superman ad here. Is it Superman peanut butter? Was this a thing? First action-packed Superman adventure, free with 2 labels from. This was a thing. Superman peanut butter was a thing. Creamy or crunchy. You could get a free Superman comic. Oh boy. Imagine if that's the one you got. That's issue 1, isn't it? Or his first. This is his first appearance. Superman peanut butter. It's interesting that we don't see more of that today, like Spider-Man jam, licensed characters on food. That's not really a thing today. Michael Shannon is a champion. I'm sure he could do it. Oh, Chameleon. Yep. Bump and jump video game. Oh, look at the graphics on this. This is Atari. And yeah, it is. Atari 2600. Look at the graphics. There's got to be at least 3 colors there. Maybe 4. What is that, 2-bit? If Super Nintendo 16 and NES is 8, this might be, that's probably 4-bit. That looks like Wind Charger. That looks just like Wind Charger. Right down to the giant wheels. A little cameo appearance by Wind Charger in this live stream. Yeah. Benny Hill saw it too. Superman peanut butter was great. Just another great thing that's gone away, apparently. Superman peanut butter. Is there a monster, Frankenstein, Dracula, werewolf element in the Sergeant Rock? No, I don't think so. Like, there's a lot I haven't read, so maybe some kind of supernatural stuff came up, but it was just straight up war stories. The horrors of war were horrifying enough. Wouldn't be surprised if they went that route. You never know these days. That was Power Lords. And let's move this up. We've been going an hour here. Wow, time has just flown by. I've only gone through, what, 2 comics? Wild. I was hoping to get through a lot more today, but getting slowed up by those old great ads. Vin Diesel. Yeah. I'm starting to get less picky about how they look and more picky about their what is it called? Like, what, their American citizenship. Superpowers action figure ads. I'm going to be wrapping this up soon. It's lunchtime, but just quickly flip through another one of these. Any requests on which one you want to see me go through here? Let me go back to solo layout here. Got Transformers. Maybe we'll take a quick peek at the death of Optimus and Megatron, since we happen to have those right here. Zoom in. Cameraman, zoom it. Rest in peace, Iron Sheik. This is the issue where Optimus Prime dies for the first time. Laser tag. Oh, wow. Defensor appears in this issue. I didn't think he was around during this time, but yeah, I guess it was 86. Defensor would have been around. Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for joining. These are fun to go through with some buds watching along. Benny Hill wants to take a look at the mask issue. So once we get a look at Optimus and Megatron biting it, I'll quickly flip through the mask issue. There's Prime already taking some damage here. This is what I used to do with my plasticine Prime before I had a real Optimus Prime. Battle damage. Optimus and Megatron are fighting each other in a video game. It's a virtual battle, and gotta say, this was not as great a death for Prime as it was in the movie. In the movie, his death was amazing. In the game, he lost. Megatron cheated, I believe. And then he says, no, a deal's a deal. I lost. And he's telling the guy, press it, blow me up. And that sucked. Now, there was no internet back in the day, but I remember talking to friends saying, like, that really sucked. That he just, like, told them, blow me up. That's the deal. And that's it. That's how Prime dies in the comic the first time. But nobody's ever really gone. His memory is backed up on a floppy disk to be downloaded into his new Power Master body a few years later. But the death in the movie, way better than that. And then in the following issue, Megatron's Last Stand. I got to say, it's really cool just having a big mess of comics here, just like the old days. Megatron's Last Stand. And this is where Megatron buys it, following issue. I like how Megatron dies in the upcoming issue. Aerial bots are one of my favorite combiners. Me too. I had the originals. Don't like the way Prime dies in this? Me neither. It was lame. Now you can play as Optimus against Megatron in Fortnite. Don't unalive yourself after, though. Unalive. How long until they ban that word, too? How long until the word unalive gets your content to drop out of the algorithm? Great issue here, and wow, this issue is really in nice shape, too. A little bit of wear on the spine, but really nice. Megatron sitting in a throne of junk and missing the good old days of fighting Optimus Prime. They recap Prime's memory being stored on a little disc. The laser tag. Now this is wild. He's not Galvatron, but he's acting crazy like Galvatron. He grabs, I think is that Onslaught? Or is it Brawl? And he just starts crushing his head. Because he's been driven mad by losing his arch nemesis. Completely nuts. Would have been interesting if this got drawn out for a few issues, but there was just no time. They had to start pushing the new toys and shelving the old toys. That's the trouble with having some great creative minds working on a comic and then having a corporation that is selling toys, and that's their priority, saying, no, you need to do this. Runs into a truck that looks just like Optimus Prime, and he thinks it's Prime because he's got Prime derangement syndrome, and blows the truck up. Luckily, the guy escapes because it is a Marvel comic and a kid's toy line. It's just a great issue. And then they send the Predacons out to put Megatron down, put the Mad Dog down. Shockwave, always up to no good in the comics. Got to do so much more in the comics than in the old show. And Megatron gets attacked by the Predacons. Brawl, thank you. Taking some damage there. Now that's a pretty cool last stand. Prime's death in the previous issue sucked, but Megatron's in this issue is cool. Taking on all 5 Predacons by himself, and he's being torn apart literally. Just keeps getting more and more damage. Look at that. What a shot that is. Tearing him to shreds, goes down fighting. He's a piece of crap, but he's a warrior too. Warrior to the end. Fighting the Predacons, and then Predaking forms. It's a heck of a way to introduce Predaking. Brought in to take out Megatron. Megatron puts up quite a fight. Absolutely. Taking down Predaking was peak. One of my favorite TF comics. It's kind of sad that Megatron will always end up insane. It's like it's like a Sliders episode where there's alternate dimensions, but some people are just destined to end up a certain way. And Megatron is destined, no matter what timeline it is, to always end up insane, whether it's just staying as Megatron or becoming Galvatron. And kaboom, blows himself up on the space bridge so that Prime can't follow him. That's the end of Megatron. Any familiar names in the letters page here? No? Oh, that's weird. A Yamaha ad. Just a straight up motorcycle ad in the back of a comic book. That's not something that would be normally advertised in comics back then. Or is that a keyboard? I was thinking it was a motorcycle. It's a keyboard. Still, usually it was like toys or other comics or candy, but like a keyboard. Well, case in point, gum. That's the end of Megatron, and we'll go through the mask one, since I loved watching Benny Hill when I was growing up, and Benny Hill is in the chat joining us. I don't think it's the original Benny Hill, but he has asked, whoa, this is really in there. And any channel members, one of the custom emojis is the Spectrum mask. You know what to do. Spectrum on. Mask comic issue number 1. That's a bonus. Well, I would have liked to have any mask comic, but to have issue 1 with all of the Mask Agents vehicles on the front. You've been seeing shorts, 360 shorts of these guys. Just did the Gator. Going to do some of the Venom vehicles next before moving on to another toy line for the 360 shorts. If comics today had as many ads, the prices could go down. Yeah, that's true. Keyboard ad. I eventually figured that out. There's I really wish that StreamYard would update so that we could see the custom emojis, but Gaz is rocking the Spectrum mask there on the live chat if you're watching along on YouTube. The mask comic. All right, let's take a look. By DC Comics. When Opportunity Knocks. So I think they're going after Fort Knox. Starts off on an aircraft carrier. Number 19. And even though it was DC, it looked so much like a Marvel comic. There's not much difference. It kind of looks like an eel from G.I. Joe. Mask cartoon had one of the greatest intros of all time. Didn't like the actual show, though. And some of the episodes are hit or miss. Some of the animation on some of the episodes is like breathtaking, beautiful. And then some isn't. It was Deke, so I mean that was before they got really cheap, before they became do it cheap. But yeah, I was actually surprised that the animation in some of the episodes looked amazing. The intro though, can't skip it. Oreo maze. How did we get through here? Through here, through here, up through here, around. Break through some walls, get to the milk. Use a rocket launcher. No, I got a guy here. And me, Grimlock, no care. Penciled by Mike Chen, teacher at the Kubert School in New Jersey. So the mass comic you're reading takes place on an aircraft carrier. Could be the USS Flag. No, it's not, because Flag is number 99. This is 19. Looks the same, though. A lot of them look similar. There's Thunderhawk flying around. Is that Hector Ramirez? Probably not. I got Hector Ramirez on the brain because the Inhumanoids video I'm doing, he's in everything. Some people say, no, that's not Hector in Transformers. Yes, it is. Buzz Dixon created the character. Buzz Dixon says it's Hector, even though it's a different voice actor than all the other times he appeared. Buzz says it's him. It's him. But, you know, if you want to have your own headcanon, then no one can stop you. Newton's Fruit, and this is an interesting sideways ad, landscape ad. Newton's Fruit Chewy mix-up. What are you supposed to do here? Oh, it's one of those word jumbles again. I smell crossover. Yeah, there should be a G.I. Joe and Mask crossover. They've tried. They released a Matt Tracker figure in G.I. Joe. That was kind of a cool figure. This is another one of those NBC Saturday morning ads that we saw earlier. What was the lineup in 85 to 86? Snorks, Adventures of Gummy Bears, Smurfs, Punky Brewster, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Kid Video, Mr. T, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends was hanging on, plus one to grow on. It's the same as before, more of the kiddie stuff early and more of the older kid stuff later on. Mr. T hanging in there. Smurfs, Gummy Bears, Alvin and the Chipmunks. Oh, right. There was a Punky Brewster cartoon. I forgot about that. I've seen people say Old Snake in Transformers Season 3 isn't Cobra Commander. They can say that. I really don't care if they do say it. It is him. But like I said, if that's your headcanon, that's cool. But I think the problem is when they start telling you what your headcanon is supposed to be. I think that should not be tolerated. If they want to believe that, cool. Have fun with it. I'm interested to hear the theory. Always interested to hear the theory. But when they start telling me, no, you're wrong, this is how it is, then that's when I just start to walk on. Ignore, mute, block. Who cares? There's no point. Glow-in-the-dark posters with neon lace. Cool. Oh, these are cool. Little bio things of the mask agents and their vehicles. Bruce Sato is always, in the show and in the comic, I guess, considered the driver pilot of Rhino, even though Tracker comes with Rhino too. But Matt's usually in Thunderhawk and he can't be in two vehicles at the same time, so Bruce gets Rhino. Is that General Flag? Speaking of G.I. Joe crossover, who does that remind you of? Looks like General Flag. T-Bob getting in trouble as usual. Not a lot of ads in this one. Interesting. Mass crossovers with Transformers in the later IDW comics. I don't know much about it because, yeah, I tried to read some of those. I didn't really get into them. Because it was a bunch of other stuff, too. It wasn't just G.I. Joe and Mask. I think they threw Visionaries in there, and yeah, it was just a mess. I just want G.I. Joe and G.I. Joe and Mask. There's some schematics here. That's kind of cool, too. The mask room. The energy room, I think it was called. No, mask room is what they refer to it here. Justice Society. That's it. That's the end of the Mask comic. An ad for Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling. Did a commentary on one of those episodes some years back with Bob. That was a lot of fun. The Berenstain Bears. There's your was it the Mandela effect? Everybody could swear it was Berenstein Bears, but it's Berenstain Bears. Wuzzles, Young Astronauts, Muppet Babies, stuck in rights limbo. Can't release it because of all of the different movie and show clips they included into it, which at the time was just people saying to Jim Henson, yeah, sure, go ahead. No problem. Now all the big companies are involved and all the rights issues. So Muppet Babies has unfortunately just been buried. Kind of like there's another show I was hoping would be released, Werewolf on Fox. And it's got real music all throughout, and they can't release it because of all the real music. But there we go. That's Saturday morning comics and coffee. That was fun. Thanks, everyone, for joining this stream. Much appreciated. Great hearing your thoughts and pointing out little details. We had a celebrity, Horse Whisperer, in the chat today who appears in the Circuit Breaker. Back of the Circuit Breaker issue right there. Wuzzles was great. Good animation. Can't say I remember any of Wuzzles. Remember watching some, I always thought it was like Gummy Bears. And I had to watch Gummy Bears. I had to because I'd come home from lunch from school, and the only thing that was on was Gummy Bears. So it wasn't like now where you could just watch whatever you wanted. There wasn't even DVDs. I didn't have VHSs of shows I liked. You literally had to watch what was on TV. And the only cartoon that was on for lunch was Gummy Bears. That's it. So every day for like a whole year, Gummy Bears for lunch every day. And it's a good show, actually. It's not bad, but I would have preferred Brave Star or Transformers or Inhumanoids or something else. How long has Hulk Hogan been going bald? Yeah, he started receding like probably in his teens. I think both Gummy Bears and Wuzzles was Disney. Yep, they both were. Getting Thunder the Barbarian DVD this week. Can't wait to see them. Cool. Enjoy that. And thank you all for joining this live stream. That's the end of my coffee, and that's the end of the comics for now, but I just scratched the surface. Might come back and do another one of these. Go through some of these other ones. That was a lot of fun. Just flipping through them and not really worrying too much about the story and the writing, and instead just Checking out those fun ads and some of the cool panels, the memorable panels, like the end of Megatron. Man, that was awesome. That's quite the issue there. All right, that's it for me. Appreciate everyone tuning in today. Thanks again to Film and Page for the super chat. Appreciate that. Going to get some lunch, but hope you all have an awesome weekend. Want to wish you all a happy Easter too. Take care, everyone. See you again soon.